They told me that this was a big lecture series, like one of the biggest on campus, and I was thinking, a couple hundred people, but wow. As an engineer, usually we're typically introverted, and that is me, I'm an introvert, but I'm getting out of my comfort zone, and I'm here to talk to you, right? And I hope it's impactful and meaningful. I am not a BYU alum, but my wife went to BYU, and all of my children went to BYU. And so that's some good stuff there, right? I've also given back to BYU University through funds and through actually helping out with the Marriott School of Business to help out from that perspective. So super grateful for the College of Engineering. We brought them out to Caterpillar in Peoria, Illinois, where we've basically been there for over 100 years. We're celebrating our 100th year anniversary this year. And you're celebrating 150th anniversary. So two wonderful traditions, two wonderful institutions, two wonderful things about getting the academia aligned with industry and really driving progress and driving the world forward from that perspective. So you may be thinking, where will your career take you? Is anybody thinking that way? Are you worried about an internship? You're worried about the job, future job prospects? Worried about what's going on with technology? You've jumped into an engineering discipline, which is fantastic. That engineering discipline that you work on is, when you get into the course, that is very deep in expertise, right? Because the job and the role of a good engineering college is to really teach you the nuances, but also the specific analytics and the disciplines that you need to solve for chemical, for mechanical, for civil, for manufacturing. So you get very focused in on that. You may turn around and say, did I jump into an engineering discipline and maybe I want to jump into a different discipline? Is it too late for me? Can I make that switch? I'll show you in a couple of slides that it's never too late. Your foundation of what you're learning and what you're doing and the discipline and the rigor to graduate with an engineering degree will set you up for success in my view, in any career path or in anywhere where Heavenly Father takes you and your family. And I will show that to you, hopefully, in my career slide. But before I jump in about Caterpillar, and many of you think Caterpillar is those construction equipment's on the side of the road, which we are. Some of you think it's really cool swag at Costco. They got a Caterpillar sweatshirt, or there's some boots that have Caterpillar. We're much more than that. And I'll go into a little bit of that. But I really wanted to make sure that I shared with you, at least for 10 minutes, what I've learned in the 30 plus years of being an engineer, but also having the engineering training and discipline that's actually helped me in different seasons in my life be successful. And that all roots and comes from having core engineering and discipline principles from that perspective. My belief, I'm a little biased here, engineers can do anything. Engineers can solve anything. Because we have that mindset, we have that discipline, we have that rigor. So, core beliefs and expectations. So when you think about this, deliver real impact. Always check your true north. What does your customers really need? And I'll give you a quick example. I'm sitting at Ford Motor Company, my first job. I'm working in the powertrain area. My boss comes over and he says, now granted, I'm going to date myself. This is around 1993, right? So I'm a little old here. But CATIA, modeling, 3D softwares, those were all the new things, right? My boss comes over and he says, I have a special project I need you to get done for me. I need you to render and design a high-point bevel gear set, a ring and a pinion. And I'm like, oh, okay. And he says, and I need it in 2 weeks. And I'm thinking, wow, okay, great. I'm going to go after it, right? I just take that information away. And he wants a full rendering. I believe he wants a full rendering. What do? It's my first job. At that time, I am a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and very, very proud to be. I've got a kid. I've got a family. I'm thinking, whoa, I gotta deliver, right? Most engineers we have a little bit of an anxiety, right? We're a little bit, hey, are we worthy enough? Can we do this? Are we going to be able to provide the right solution? So what do? I grab gear engineering books. I start looking at coding on how I can do with the SDRC idea systems. I'm making convex, concave shapes and curves and that kind of stuff, and I work my butt off to give a full render, and I even animate this, right? I bring it over to my boss, 2 weeks, and this is 2 weeks of 80+ hour week, right? Just plugging away, and I'm nervous, right? I show it to my boss. He sees it. He looks at it. I show it, and he's like, "Wow, that is amazing. That's really great. Hey, can you just pivot it at 45 degrees? Take a screenshot because I just need to put that into a presentation." That's all he wanted. He just wanted a visual representation of a ring gear and a high-point pinion gear and how they meshed into it because he was going to talk about a program for the F-150 pickup truck, right? But I didn't know the true north. I didn't know the expectation of what my boss wanted. I didn't know the expectation of what they needed. I killed myself from that. Now, did I learn a whole bunch of stuff from that? You bet. Did I learn gearing more? Did I learn the software better? Did I like those things were not wasted. But always make sure you check on the true north. What does your end user really want and need? And then make sure your position is to do that. And then you see challenges. You have to see challenges as opportunities to innovate. Many times, when you actually are in the industry, you're not you're not doing something that's going well or fixing something that's well. Something's broken. There's an industry need, there's a market need. Something's wrong there. And there's uncertainty there. Because if there was already a solution in the marketplace, there'd already be something there, and they wouldn't need, guess what? A bunch of really talented and smart engineers, right? So you really have to embrace that. You really have to look at that, and you need to actually look for the challenge. You need to look at how you can make it better and how you can improve that design or that experience for the customer from that perspective. And communicate clearly when discussing gaps in solutions. When you're in a group setting with a cohort, or you're working on a project, or you're working on something, and you're talking with like minds, that's usually not a difficulty, right? You're talking and you're working through the issues and the principles that you're trying to solve. You're learning, you're growing, you're experimenting. This bullet point here has served me well throughout my career. Realize that once you graduate, most of your communication, or a lot of your communication, will be with non-engineers. How you can communicate simply, clearly, and discussing the gaps and solutions is really, really important from that perspective. They will not understand the full depth and understanding of what you're struggling with. How you understand that and how you go about that is really important from that side. Oops, I did the laser pointer. I hit the button that I shouldn't hit. Okay. Customers create value. I work for Caterpillar. I work for Ford Motor Company. We sell stuff. Most engineers build things to sell, right, in the marketplace. If you're innovating for the spirit of innovating because you think it's really cool and you're learning from that, that's really good, okay? But please remember, you actually have to solve the customer's problem. Customers are the ones that are courageous. The customers are the ones that are going to buy that good, buy that services, or are going to invest in you to develop something for them, or invest in the company that you're working on. So they're the courageous ones. And sometimes engineering, and I've put myself in this space, you think about your technology, your path, what you're trying to learn, what you're trying to really do, and you can lose sight of the customer and where the value in the marketplace brings your solution from that perspective. Your differentiation is key. If there's one thing I'll tell you, if you work at a small company or a large company, there's 3 things that you'll need to understand and do. And it's a little bit like your grading scale that you have here, okay? Some of you are top of the class, some of you are the mid, some of you are struggling to go through that from that perspective, right? But that's okay. Hard work, perseverance will work through that. Once you graduate, you graduate. You've earned that degree. your differentiation of how you do soft skills and how you work as a team member and how you collectively lift people up and how you try to solve those problems, which is a lot of the core tenets of BYU, and you think about the gospel, will serve you well. Never lose sight of that. Be careful if you think about it's about you. It's really not about you. It's usually about the problem that you're trying to solve. That will be your key differentiator. You will be recognized and rewarded because of that. I'm going to show you in a slide here next. I've never actually applied, other than actually I've never even applied to Caterpillar. They called me from that perspective. I've never actually applied for a job in my 20 plus years at Caterpillar. And I'll show you why that is. And it's some of these principles. Okay, lean. Anybody know lean principles? Methodology of lean? Okay, I love lean. Okay? You need to identify and eliminate waste in processes, in anything that you're doing. When you do that, it's a more effective and efficient way to engineer something, to have meetings, to study, to do any of those type of activities. Really focus in on your time and remove waste at all costs. And you can start practicing that now. Observe, data beats assumptions. Whoever has a feel. Now, I'm not talking about a good feeling that you get from the Holy Ghost, right? On true gospel principles and that kind of stuff. But sometimes you have a feel, right? Yeah, I don't think that person's going down the right path. Well, is there data? Is there information that supports that? Hey, I don't think we're going down this right path on this product or on this development. What's the data showing you? Or where can you get the data that helps you either prove or disprove your assumptions? Data is super important from that perspective. I don't have any affiliation with this book or anything like that, but I love A3s, and if you don't know what an A3, it's just a simple format. It's Managing to Learn. It's a book, and it teaches you actually how to frame up problems and work collaboratively within teams, and it's a really fantastic book. I've been using it for almost 20 years, and it is fantastic from that perspective. So if there's one plug, I would say that is a really good thing to learn when you actually have free time from that perspective. Now, keeping on moving here, team up for success. Celebrate first pass success. Quality matters. I did say that sometimes we are an anxious group of people. We worry, is our math calculation correct? Is our algorithm good? Are we putting the right things in place? Are we going to get the right answer? And many times you won't get the right answer. But when you do get the right answer, or when the team gets the right answer, or when you're working for a company that you get the right answer the first time through, celebrate those successes. And then reflect on those successes of how you got the right answer the first time through. Because that's super important. It's super important to a company's bottom line. It's super important to the customer's experience that you'll be designing and innovating solutions for. And keep projects moving. There's a phrase out there in the industry, at least in my area, is analysis paralysis, where you think you can do a little bit more, and you think you can do a little bit more, and you think you can do a little bit more, and well, what about this area? Or let me go study a little bit more over here, and let me go figure these things out. And then you're like, oh, and then come to find out, timeline slipping away, expectations are slipping from your boss or your leadership or your cohort or your team members that you're working because you're stuck in this loop. What I found is very helpful to me is break things down into very short, simple intervals and blast it. Go hard at it. Sequester yourself, get in, or with your team members, work it through, work it hard, work diligent. Don't just keep on stretching it out and adding more and more layers. But then you have to have a checkpoint. Have a checkpoint that turns around and says, okay, this subset is yielding benefits. This subset does a really good job. Okay, now I can move to the next phase. You feel comfortable there, and that's really good from that side, okay? And then make engineering fun. Make engineering fun. Creates spark innovation. I hope you guys have personalities and fun, right? We're some kind of stereotype. We don't have personalities, right? In the industry, trust me. It's us and accountants. two really good disciplines that BYU has is like, oh, accountants don't have any personalities and engineers don't have any personalities. But in reality, have fun. Make sure you don't lose the real purpose of why you're here, and that is to provide success to that company or whoever you're working. But it is really about relationships. It is really about your interactions with another brother and sister, with another child of God. And how you interact and how you have fun and how you engage is super important. It will fulfill your life, even though you may have some challenging times in your life. But those relationships will shore you up from that perspective. Okay. So I said, hey, where will your career take you? I have no idea. But I do know that you shouldn't really worry about it. You're in a discipline that they'll always need good engineers to solve problems, to fix the issues that are facing a city, a community, a company. And you're in the right discipline, and you're in the right thing. So where's it taking me? As you can tell, I don't do engineering anymore. I'm a professional meeting taker. I'm in a lot of meetings all the time, and I absolutely love it. But I did start out at Ford Motor Company. I was a design and release engineer. I was doing stuff on Ford Mustangs, on F-150s. I was on the test track. I was breaking stuff. I was engineering stuff. Powertrain. Does that sound fun to anybody? Seriously? Circle A tracks, donuts all the time, trying to overheat, break it, strain gauge stuff. If you would have asked me then, when I was 30, and then when I was 35, do you want to do something different in your career? I would have been like, no way. I'm loving it. I used to go in at 5:30 in the morning just because I was an early riser, and I'd get out at 3:30. I'd have extra activities and that kind of stuff. I absolutely loved it. But seasons in life will change for you, and they've changed for me. And why I talked about the opportunities out there, what you think you're going to be doing in the next 5 years is probably pretty good. You're probably going to get a good job at a company, and you're going to work through that. But what are you going to be doing in 5 years after that, or 10 years after that kind of stuff? Don't worry about it. Just be really good at what you're doing in the given moment. And then if it's anything like me, you're going to have opportunities. And those opportunities, as you can see, I jumped and I left Ford because, a headhunter called me and said, you know what, we'd love for you to actually design some powertrain stuff on huge, large mining trucks. The things that you see over in Kennecott mining, right? 400-ton trucks, 4,000 horsepower, right? We'd love you to come over and help us out and work on some of that. I was like, I really like what I'm doing. Except when I went and saw a big old truck and I walked in to the axle housing. I literally walked into the axle housing. And I'm like, oh, we're going to put differentials and final drives, and we're going to put gear sets, and the transmission literally is 4 or 5 times the size of me. I'm like, oh, I think I would like to do this, right? So those things have changed. Then I moved there, and then they're like, you know what? We need you to move to India and run an engineering team in India and develop engineering, a whole new engineering truck product line, and help support that in India for that market of the world, right? I didn't ask for that job. They just said, would you be willing to do that? Sure, I'll do it. No problem. And then I'm there, then they say, you know what? We're going to acquire this company, or we're thinking about acquiring this company, it's called Bucyrus, an older company than Caterpillar. They were the first ones that put the shovels that actually dug the Panama Canal, to put it in reference. Think about that. And they said, we want you to be a part of an M&A, mergers acquisition team, to do the diligence on their engineering and their supply chain, to figure out, is it worthy of an acquisition of $8.6 billion? Would you be willing to help out and be a part of, not me, me as a team member, right, of a big group, right? Wow, that sounds really interesting. I'll do that. Could I have said, wow, geez, I'm just an engineer. I don't have that skill set. I don't have that kind of stuff. No, I said yes because I am an engineer. I am an engineer, and I know how to solve complex problems. I know how to pull my hair out. I know how to turn a little gray. I know how to work through issues, fail fast, figure it out, iterate, and work through that. Oh, I can handle these kind of things. And that's what you can handle when you go forward in your career. And then you can see I won't cover the rest of that. And now I've got all the autonomy. I've got pathways to sustainability, greenhouse reductions for our customers, dynamic energy transfer. I'm going to share you some slides and some videos from that perspective. So the takeaway here is don't worry about your career. Just be as awesome as you possibly can be in what you're doing right now. And it will work out. And lean into those opportunities. You don't need an aha moment. You don't need that kind of stuff. You're in a good spot. Just keep on moving. Okay. So, Caterpillar, I talked about shoes, I talked about jackets, hats, maybe Costco sweatshirts that are out there. Down at the bottom left-hand corner, basically, we're the leading manufacturer of this construction equipment, mining equipment, solar turbines, on-highway engines, locomotives. Did you even realize locomotives, we're an industry leader in locomotives from that perspective? What's not listed on here, too, is we actually have a whole marine division. Actually do a bunch of marine power plants, and from that perspective. What that means is we've got 4 million products working around the world. And of those 4 million, 1.5 of those are connected assets. We know fuel burn, we know prognostics, diagnostics, we know everything that's coming off 1.5 million machines. All the time, every day. Several times a minute, we actually know what that information is. And we're looking at prognostics, diagnostics, influencing customers to make sure reliability and durability is sustained and maintained. And then we look at that and we say, where's the right service technician? Where's the right part? What's the right service that we need to provide to keep that durability up and moving? And then the rest of that is, here's our sales, revenue. We've got a whole bunch of fun stuff. We give really back to the communities, almost $1 billion that we give back in our foundation. Caterpillar has a wonderful culture. A wonderful culture of giving back. And then we're focused on sustainable innovation. And I'm going to share with you now some of the cool things that I get to do day in and day out from that perspective. There's a lot of videos here. I thought we'd frame it up with, I'm going to give you the customer problem, okay? And then here's some of the things that we do at a high level, because there's tons of disciplines in here. And then what we try to do is Caterpillar to solve those customer problems. So I hope it's the theme that you're taking away. I start with the customer. What does the industry need? What does the customer need? And then understand that, and then what is that engineered solution that we can actually provide value in the marketplace from that perspective, okay? Was in the other slide. So I do have all of the sales, technology, and support for autonomous hauling vehicles, for our dynamic energy transfer, battery electric machines. I also have the operations. So when we put autonomous vehicles in mines, when we put our solutions semi-autonomous or dynamic energy transfer, I actually have people there at the mines working day in, day out with customers too, which gets really exciting, really stressful sometimes too. So, okay.
No one knew what autonomy would look like here in Eastern Canada. But as soon as we did that first blue lights flick on, everyone accepted how much of a success it would be.
The first time you see a big 250-ton truck driving itself with no operator in the cab, it's a pretty surreal thing.
Shift change is a lot easier to manage because you don't have to replace like 25 haul truck drivers at the same time. And the trucks keep rolling pretty much 24/7. It's really helped us optimize a lot of our cycle times. We can preset speeds to the truck, and we're able to maintain our haul roads a lot better, and we can haul a lot more and last a lot longer with those roads.
The autonomy using the high-precision GPS and the LiDAR, it gives the machines the ability to run in foggy conditions.
If one truck gets a slip event, all the trucks know about it, so now they all reduce speeds and take the right actions to minimize risk.
They're learning with each other, and they're learning as they go. It's really quite unique. All the equipment that operates in the autonomous zone all have special equipment to be able to talk to each other and see each other throughout the pit.
The way they see you, I am more confident driving in an autonomous mine than driving in a mine operation.
So that's the foundation. So that's our autonomous hauling trucks. Are any of you aware of the autonomous hauling truck from Caterpillar? In that perspective, a little bit? Okay. Yeah. Well, it didn't just all of a sudden just flip on, right? We just didn't say, okay, we're autonomy, right? We had to have building blocks. And those are some of those building blocks. When you heard a little bit of the fleet up there, They said when there was a slip event, right, so some traction areas, right, that one machine could be able to talk to another machine and actually identify, hey, icy road, snow road, wet events, slow down, and we actually can control that. That's all coordinated. So what did we have to do? We had to connect all the machines with all the critical parameters from the machine, right? Think about velocity, telemetry, trajectory of the machine. What does that look like? Can it stop in time? What are the physics based around that, right? To make sure we can apply the right braking pressures to stop the machine based off a specific traction event. So we had to build that fleet out, right? And then we actually had to say, well, we have to scan for the terrain. We actually have to understand. So geospatially, we scan with those LiDARs, continuously scan the roads, the banks, what we call cross slope. How much is the camber of that road? Is it too excessive? What's happened? Is there a big ditch? Is there something that happened? Was there a slide that came through, right? So we had to build out that technology. Then we had to actually detect, right? Where is one machine versus another machine versus a light vehicle versus a bulldozer versus a shovel? What's the proximity of this truck and how it's running? So we had to detect. We had to, really lean into high precision GPS and actually look at those type of things. And then the health of the machine. Who of you have been in your car and you see your engine light come on and just drive right through it? I'm just kidding. Probably a lot of you, right? Okay, so hopefully you look at the manual and understand, what the severity of those engine lights are. But when there's not a person and an operator in the cab, there's lots of warnings, overheats, temperatures, hydraulic pressures, a whole bunch of different things. We actually had to create that whole system to actually tie that out, to actually give the prognostics and diagnostics and then communicate, right, from that perspective. Those were the building blocks, and then we put the command layer in. We've done that, and now we have the autonomous mining, and then we actually are moving that into the autonomous quarry now too, from that perspective. So what does that mean? Here's what we've been able to do. That's not a typo. We've hauled over 10 billion tons, okay, in over 12 years, and 365 million kilometers. Get that in your mind, 365 million kilometers safe, without a single incident, without us damaging, without us hurting anybody from that perspective. That's pretty awesome, right? And we have those solutions all around the world. And we're continuing to grow those solutions more and more and more, is because autonomy is an opportunity to actually fix customers' problems. That Cote mine is a gold mine, okay? It's up in northern Canada, remote. It's really hard to get people to work up in remote Canada and then actually want to be in a truck and just drive over and over again, same time, same route, 12 hours a day, right? And then live up on the mine and then fly home and then come back and do that again for 7 days straight for 12 hours. So we're solving those customer problems, and we're solving it being more productive from that perspective. Okay, let's see this video here. A different problem that we're trying to solve. I don't know if it's going to play there.
When we talk about the challenges of the energy transition, many of us think about replacing diesel trucks with battery-powered solutions. But the problem to solve isn't the truck itself. It's about how to safely and efficiently transfer energy to that machine. With a battery electric truck, energy transfer can happen in two ways. Statically, like when a truck stops at a charging station, or dynamically, transferring energy to a machine while it's working around a mine site. Today, dynamic energy transfer exists with diesel electric haul trucks by using overhead trolley systems like this. But trolley systems come with their own set of challenges. Trolley can take months to install and can be difficult to move around as a mine plan changes over time. When a truck is attached to the trolley, the operator needs to maintain a precise connection to the overhead cables, making it difficult to navigate curves in the road. The height of a trolley's cables also determines which truck models can connect and how high those trucks can be loaded. The size of the cables also limits the amount of energy that can be transferred to a truck. With our customers in mind, our team of innovators are redefining what it will take to run an electrified mine site, designing a solution that's nimble, more modular, capable of providing energy to machines when they're on the go, and recharging batteries at the same time. Introducing our new CAT Dynamic Energy Transfer System. This design is focused on transferring energy safely at the lowest total cost and more. The side rail will allow for greater flexibility. The system can be installed on flat haul roads, on grade, and around curves, enabling higher productivity. The connecting arm can be installed on either side of the truck and on multiple truck models, so you have options to fit your operations. CAT DET will also work with diesel-electric models, providing immediate benefit to mine sites that want to lower their operating costs and emissions today, while providing flexibility for the future. No regrets. The system is also being designed to work with our command for hauling solution, merging together autonomy and electrification to provide a holistic site solution. On a mine site, we know every second, every kilowatt, and every ton matters, which is why you need a solution designed to maximize it all. At Caterpillar, we continue to invest in products, technology, and solutions designed to help you achieve your goals, no matter where you are on your journey.
So hopefully you saw some of the customer problems that we're trying to solve there. Many of you maybe in your advanced engineering side, you'd say, well, dynamic energy transfer, that's great. Is it the most effective and efficient way to provide power to propel a machine from that perspective? And it all matters. It depends. So let's just say where I was just at a few weeks ago in Brazil, close to the Amazon, with a customer, over 85% of all Brazil power is green. They have an abundance of green power because of the rainfall, because of their hydroelectrics, and from the perspective. They've got an abundance of energy, abundance of electricity, okay? But they also said, well, this overhead trolley system that they potentially are thinking about using and reducing carbon emissions, this overhead trolley system, think about, does Provo, does it ever have you have an overhead trolley system with rail? No? Say it again? Okay, Salt Lake, yeah, Salt Lake, right? So imagine, right, that's a fixed track, right? It's a fixed route. People hop on, people hop off. You can put that trolley system there. Well, of course, iron ore or gold or copper, lithium, whatever we're trying to mine, right, is always moving, right? So you really can't, you could move that fixed track over and over and over again, but that's not cost effective. So that's why we come in with this new unique way, right, of actually putting a dynamic energy transfer in there. And we have significant performance gains. And we can actually, it's highly adaptable, it's easier to use, it's solving customers' problems. And then we can put it on a whole bunch of different ranges of trucks to optimize the right fleet hauling performance for customers. And then we can actually provide what Caterpillar brings to the marketplace, and that is our dealer support network, our service to make sure everything is up and running just in case something does go wrong from that perspective. So again, back, what was the customer problem? How is Caterpillar trying to address that customer's problem? And how we do it more effectively and efficiently. So I showed you the autonomy and the MineStar. That builds up, and we have the dynamic energy transfer from that perspective. Okay? What happens when you think about full battery electric machines? Let's see what here. Here we go. Think about the holistic site solution.
Becomes more interdependent. Today, your team is refueling machines every 12 to 24 hours. Tomorrow, you'll be monitoring energy management down to the minute, determining the ideal time to recharge each machine. To be successful, the mine site of the future must operate as an integrated and well-orchestrated system. More than ever before, you need a solution that's capable of holistically managing and optimizing your operations and able to instantly adapt to changes. Fuel stations must be replaced with battery chargers and dynamic energy transfer solutions capable of delivering energy to your equipment without interrupting production. From using energy to travel to the truck's assigned load zone, navigating through the mine, and charging your machines as they travel uphill, watching the battery drain and refill in real time, dumping a load, and then making a stop at a stationary charger for a quick charge versus sitting in a queue at the shovel. This is the smart mine site of the future, a cohesive site management system that can be customized to meet your needs. Together, with you, we can develop an integrated system.
So as you can see there on that one that's a full battery electric machine, right? So we do have some 240-ton payload, putting 240 tons in the back of a bed that's running fully electric, right? It's like, that's pretty cool. One could say, how far can you go, right? There's range anxiety now. If anybody who here has a Tesla or their family has a Tesla or what kind of electric vehicle, right? It's like 300 miles. Some of them are pushing it to 400 miles from that perspective. Just to give you some fun context, because I can't get into too of the chemistry of the batteries and what we're doing innovative in that perspective. One charge, though, could take a Tesla, and we could start on the West Coast, and we almost make it to Europe. That's how much battery energy is stored, right? So there's a lot, right? But when you're hauling 240 tons of a 10% grade, right, you're going to drain that energy down. But it was about a holistic solution, right? It's about how you connect all those assets, managing the power distribution coming in, right? And that's the reflection here on this chart. It is a busy chart, and it's purposely meant to be busy, because Caterpillar touches every single section of this chart. And every single engineering discipline in this room, guaranteed, touches some type of solution in this chart that's shown up here. So from that perspective. So when you think about, we actually have the marine side, but we actually have the electromotive diesels from that perspective. We've got the ore sensing, the processing optimization. We've got our CAT dealers. We've got the standby charging. We've got the dynamic charging. We've got the whole fleet ecosystem that we're orchestrating or simulating everything that's going with the power from that perspective. A really cool thing. I've got one last video. It's a long one from that perspective. This is what we call drill-to-mill precision mining. For 100 years, we're celebrating Caterpillar's success in solving customers' problems, right? BYU celebrating 150 years, which is fantastic. Churning out wonderful students that are actually changing the world. We're leaning in now from not just being an equipment provider, an autonomous hauling provider, or solutions on the machine, to actually really stitch in the whole ecosystem to help the miners solve their next problem. It's a little bit long video. It's about four minutes and right on time, right?
As a concept, mine-to-mill is not a new idea, and parts of it have been in place, or at least promised, for decades. But actually bringing it all together as a single, end-to-end, fully integrated site solution, and one that's also based on your operations requirements and your specific ore body? Okay, that is new. CAT Precision Mining will include a suite of CAT and third-party technology products and online sensors that are installed on your site's mobile and fixed assets, including your processing plant. And it all works together seamlessly to deliver high-value, consistent, and predictable outcomes for your operation. Better still, it's all part of Caterpillar products and services offering through CAT Precision Mining. Once a mining customer has collaborated with us to deploy a viable solution, CAT Precision Mining focuses on adding a series of additional outcomes like productivity, energy efficiency, safety, and sustainability, all while increasing the value of the asset through increased recoveries. Let's take a look. Imagine your drilling and blasting outcomes, executed to plan in 3 dimensions while collecting rock property data to optimize blast design to improve fragmentation and material movement management. This means easier to handle muck piles, higher productivity, and more accurate material management via MineStar terrain. It takes a combination of onboard sensors, industry-leading technologies from third-party providers, and proven MineStar solutions. Like autonomous drilling, material identification, tracking and management, fleet assignment, equipment tracking, production recording, people tracking and management, safety solutions, and more. Or how about loading and hauling that uses payload, diggability, fragmentation, and ore sensing data, again, so precise that you're able to predictably deliver the right pre-concentrated material to your crusher or stockpile, or directly to the process plant, enhancing consistency, efficiency, and offering a gateway to advanced pre-concentration. And since crushing and grinding consumes a considerable portion of the average mine's energy and water use, this savings alone represents a sizable improvement to the bottom line, as well as offering reduced GHG emissions and water consumption. And then there's ore processing that is so well informed from the upstream mining processes that you consistently receive the right feedstock and smart circuits, including pre-concentration via online sensors, delivering the right material attributes to the right locations and at exactly the right times, without the wasted effort, costs, and wear that come from unnecessary material rehandling. This enables you to provide maximum mill throughput with higher ore recovery at a reduced cost for energy and less water use. And all of this data means continuous improvement by reconciling your predicted versus your actual mill performance and outputs. This end-to-end modeling, simulation, and optimization will be made possible by an intelligent decision support system that will integrate and ingest data from CAT and third-party technologies across mining activities, while also being connected to your process plant and mill. All that to say, at Caterpillar, we are making mine-to-mill a reality, and the enhanced productivity, reduced costs, and greater efficiencies it provides, including significantly reduced energy and water use, are all now available or coming in the near future. As an OEM, we're defining how to readily and tightly integrate these CAT and third-party tools and the information they provide directly into our machine design. We also know mining, including the operational experience to implement a single, comprehensive, and fully integrated solution on your site, collaborating with you to deliver outcomes across your value chain. And that is CAT Precision Mining.
What it's doing there is that you can see right here in this autonomous electric rotary drill with ore sensing. So we drill, we put explosives in there, we blow up, we'll call a block, right? From that perspective. We are now having technology, ore sensing on the machine, where we can actually sense the ore as we're drilling it. And we can actually capture that three-dimensionally. And we can understand where the specific grades of the ore are and where the waste is. And we actually look at that, and when we blast it with simulation, with cool stuff from engineering, right? With simulation, we can actually control the fragmentation or the size of the rock of the blast. And we can actually, with precision, show where some of the ore goes and where some of the waste goes. So that when you think about digging into that blasted pile, you're actually digging hopefully where you know where the ore is. And that's what we can actually do with our technology. It's about ore recovery. So when you think about it, how you separate ore, if you look at Kennecott right over there, they're hauling and they're separating stuff. They got things that they assume is waste based off of geological sampling, okay? And then they look at it and then they make an estimation of what is good and what is bad. And then they take the bad stuff to the waste pile and take the good stuff to processing, okay? And then they yield it and they process it and they give you copper, okay? This is getting more granular, more fidelity in from that perspective. We do that, and then we also do a secondary sense is that we actually sense it on the shovel, and we can actually look at the shovel, what's in there, and we actually then confirm what's in there from an ore perspective. And then we drive it down all the way to the mill and the processing. You may or may not know, but mills and processing for actually copper, for gold, even for iron ore, there's different blends and different characteristics that you need. Certain size of materials will mess up crushers, will mess up the milling process. You need certain blends to actually yield a downstream process. We're connecting all that data through so that we can actually see that and then actually help those miners actually get better ore recovery at a better cost from that perspective, okay? So that's what we're leaning into now on the precision mining perspective. So that's where I'm at. So the takeaway there, we're a century-long company across construction, mining, transportation industries. One would think that we'll be around for another 100 years. And I believe that because we're leaning in and we're doing what? We're trying to solve the customer's problem. We always look for the customer's problem. It's not about what Caterpillar wants to do, it's what does the customer need, and reposition. I hope you think about what do you want to do, and if you want to solve the customer's problems, you're in the right discipline from that perspective. And then value creation is driven by understanding and meeting the needs, and then success is built on teamwork from that perspective. So I just thank you for your time. If you have any questions or like that after we have a closing prayer, I'd be happy to stick around for a few minutes and take it. So thank you very much.